don't tell Emily I started recording. For sure, she's back.
I'm back
She's
just now.
gonna get tricked. Oh baby.
Yeah, I just got here.
Wait a minute. I think she's talking, and I think my headset's just not picking her up.
All I can do is move Kiki on the left there.
All right. Well, now it can possibly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I was picking her. God damn it.
As soon as you said that, I muted.
Okay.
Yeah, I got here to hear. I got here and I heard you say I'm gonna trick her.
Okay. Good. So now you know who the yet aggressor really was. Yeah, there remains much to this case that needs to be resolved.
Like how the weapons cross country lines, for example. The two countries have incredibly strict security systems and entry procedures. Short of a miracle, it's impossible for someone to have smuggled them in.
Smuggling them in, huh? We will need to open up a new line of investigations on just this aspect alone. But before we do, I would like to go through my evidence once more. Unnecessary evidence has been removed. Remaining evidence has been rearranged.
Hey, there's a VCR here, sir. Now we can see what's on the tape Detective Bad gave us.
His piece of evidence from the KG8 incident hidden from sight for 10 long years. I just know that this is related to the current case somehow. Detective Gumshoe, if you could please play that tape for us.
Sure thing, sir.
It's just a video of Detective Bad playing with his niece.
That's a lot nicer than where I thought you were going with it.
You know.
It's a like Persona 4. It's when the Joker blows up the hospital in The Dark Knight, right?
Yeah. This man is Manny Kochin. And he's holding
a knife in his hand. This looks like footage from a security camera at the entrance of an apartment building.
He looks lost. He's like, I have this knife, but where am I going to use it? An apartment building? How do you figure that?
He's like, has anybody seen my mom? I don't know where she is. Like, I'm lost. Unlike you, I actually read that summary file on the KG8 incident. And the crime scene was the victim's own apartment.
So this footage was shot at the entrance to the victim's own apartment building.
At the trial, Mr. Faraday claimed that this piece of footage existed.
However, no one could find it.
Yes, somehow someone was able to steal it and hide it through Mr. Ernest Amano.
I can see how this would have been a definitive piece and why someone would have wanted to hide it.
You're a definitive piece. But it's a piece of evidence from a 10-year-old
We're all
case.
definitive pieces.
There's no way it's related to this case we're working on now, sir.
Actually, I believe it has everything to do with this case we're working on now. The ringleader even went so far as to use it on Mr. Postman to retrieve it. Mr. Portsman. Which means that this is a very video. Here lies a very inconvenient bit of footage to the ringleader.
Where?
Wait, what was that?
Huh?
That bit you played just now. Please, show it to me again.
Yes, hello. I'd like to hear that bit again.
This car. This is something we cannot overlook.
Why's that, sir?
Look here, Detective Gumshoe. There's a person in the car.
Holy shit.
Don't you find this section to be particularly interesting?
I don't see anything at all.
It's the flag on the front of the car.
Oh, are you talking about that thing, sir? I've heard that you could capture ghosts on film. Is that what it is, sir? So where's the picture, sir?
That's quite enough. I could have mistaken this for an apparition.
I mean, it does look like a person.
It is a flag.
So it's fucking Polano.
This is the national flag of the Principality of Cadopia. And because it has the national flag on it, we know this to be an official government car. But the question we should be asking ourselves is, what was a government car doing here? This is you.
Yeah, you wouldn't have made that mistake if I didn't mute for a sec, so, yeah, my bad. Miss Von Karma and Mr. Edgeworth, so you were here all this time.
I just forgot I gave you a lot of annoying characters, like old men and really butch, like, detectives for some reason.
Well, the latter I'm happy to accept, but the former, I mean, yeah, I had you voice that one sweaty guy from Case 2, so it's fine.
Clop, clop, clop.
Don't say that. Ambassador Alba, thank you very much for continuing the investigation, even at this time of night. If only I was even a tiny bit more careful. This tragedy would never have happened. I am truly sorry.
Go to bed, Alba. It's like late.
No.
This wasn't your fault, sir. This has nothing to do with how careful you were.
You idiot carcass! You couldn't chase after a simple thief. Now then, let's get down to the real reason why I came looking for the two of you.
Pulls out a handgun. Give
I
me
would
all
like
of
you to
your
put
money.
I'd like you to put the investigation on hold for a while. Can you do that? Excuse me? I heard you have apprehended the thief that turned this embassy upside down, and we are in the middle of an event celebrating a country's reconciliation. We can't exactly have the police and detectives walking around here forever. You're scaring the visitors away.
It's midnight.
So I hope that you can understand how I feel.
But we must finish our investigation and resolve the remaining issues.
Why don't we leave the rest to the Alabastian and Babalese police? Ambassador, we are so close. Just a little more and... Respond, Karma. I'm afraid I've made up my mind. And without my permission, you can't proceed with your investigation anyway, right? That's true, however...
As he said at the very beginning, this area can be considered to be Alabastian soil, in which case we are nothing but foreigners in their land. Is this really where our investigation ends?
Shifu, we found Mr. Edgeworth, sir.
Shifu.
Shifu, this way. That's what they call him.
Oh. Yo. Agent Lang, you're back on the scene rather quickly. If I laid back and took a break, I'd lose the scent of my prey, Mr. Prosecutor.
Agent Lang, why and though? Why have you returned?
Because I have to solve this case no matter what.
Well, I'm sorry to inform you. And don't take this the wrong way, I don't suspect you personally. However, a member of Interpol was just found to be a thief, and so...
Yeah.
Under these circumstances, I wish to put your investigation on hold. After all, I believe our own police can handle things from here. They are quite capable.
This radar investigation really will come up to a close. Ambassador Alba, I get it now. I really do.
Oh, I'm very glad you understand how I feel.
No, not that. What I was talking about is... I know who the killer is behind tonight's murder. You...
No. The... killer?
Yes,
Do
it's
you really
Francisca.
mean
Have
that,
you seen her
Agent
eyes?
Lang? What'd you say?
Wolves don't lie. Yeah, it's Francisca, because Francisca was just like, killer! It's like dragging on a whip.
Yeah. Then who is it?
Well, let me first say that I'm not talking about Mr. Cochin's murder. That was all Sheena. Langzi says, the truth lies not at the exit, but rather shines outside the maze itself. The truth is unexpectedly simple. So let me ask you this. Who do you think was Damask 2's killer? I'll tell you who. It was you, Francisca von Karma. That's a unique take.
Yeah. I was the killer?
Huh? She just starts whipping herself.
Hey, wait, but that's impossible. Yeah. Although, that whip is actually quite, yeah! Hold your tongue in that ludicrous remark you're about to make.
Agent Lang, are you seriously accusing her of murder? Yeah, I am. He doesn't appear to be joking. Look, you took my advisor, I'm gonna take yours. Fuck you. Hey, sis, I remember you saying just before Ambassador Alba went to give a speech. He called you into his office, right?
Yes, he did, but what does that have to do with anything?
I'm getting to that. Furthermore, in order to solve both cases, you moved around rather freely between Alabast and Bobble, did you not? What if she was? Wouldn't that be fucking awesome?
I mean, it would be, like, cool for, like, you know, this chapter, and then we'd be like, oh, wait, that's why she never gets to reappear again. And where is your evidence that I am the killer?
What if she's not the real Von Karma?
I think that Lang is just trying to get Alba to give permission,
Yeah, I
but he
know.
doesn't actually think she's
Yeah, but
the
wouldn't
real
it be hilarious if this wasn't the real Von Karma? The real Von Karma wouldn't play Great Revival every single time she showed up in the room.
I mean, she did earlier, like, talk about, you know, like it seemed like her character progression went away. But no, she said too much that, like, we know that, like, only
Yeah, I know.
she would know about.
That's because she's been interrogating the real Von Karma.
Ah, of course.
Yeah.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
Just think. I mean, would you not want the case to be that there's 2 Von Karmas in the world?
Oh, God, you're right.
I'll show them in due time. Ambassador Alba, in order for me to bring this case to a close, I'll need to inspect your office one more time. Will you grant me permission?
With things as they are, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I?
Good, then let's move out. Oh, and don't even think about running away, sis. My pack will be keeping a close eye on you. You can bet your bottom dollar on that.
As if I would have any reason to flee. But just so we're clear, your logic had better be sound. Because I'll accept nothing short of a perfect explanation.
She seems rather upset, not that I blame her. I expected you'd accept no less. But we'll see how long you can keep that nose of yours stuck up in the air like that. I was shot 5 minutes ago. Agent Lang, as someone related to tonight's case, I request that you allow me to take part, and so that I may clean up my superior's mess.
Ugh.
I guess I should. The more the merrier, especially when it comes to the peanut gallery.
Oh, in that case, I want to join in too. I still haven't seen what it looks like in Alabast yet. If you let Kay in, then you gotta let me in too, pal. I can't sit around and do nothing when Miss Von Karma's in trouble. Hey, Gummy, let's have a competition to see who can save her first, okay? Okay, I'll take you up on that. Oh yeah, I'm fired up and raring to go.
As a detective, I don't believe this is something you're supposed to be excited over. Sounds like this is going to be really interesting. Ambassador Alba, I'll be bringing these kids along for the ride.
Very well. But I'd like you to keep in mind that this will be your last chance.
Yeah, last chance, whatever. I'll have this whole mess cleaned up before you know it. Now let's go. Okay, I guess Von Karma's coming with us. Alright, whatever.
I mean, Edgeworth has been allowed to investigate when he was accused of murder.
Okay, but he was on a plane. They couldn't really throw him off the plane. Despite what, the very, very intelligent folks on Twitter say. A pilot has the right to throw someone off the airplane if they think they're a threat.
Like,
so you
well,
better
that's
watch
not
out.
true. They did say, during the, like, COVID briefings before all of my flights this year, they did say that, if you don't wear a mask when you're not currently eating, you may be removed from the plane. I'm assuming they meant on the ground, but they did not specify.
I mean, it might have been a joke, but also, yeah.
They wouldn't joke like that during the briefings.
Okay, now
I think
then.
they just meant while on the ground.
Yeah. Okay, now then, let's first go over the facts one more time. Wait, so you couldn't even take off your mask while eating?
No, you can't. That's the only time you're allowed to.
Okay. Manny Kochan's body was found over in the Secretariat's office in Babo. The weapon that took his life was one of Alabast's ornamental knives. And then the body of Damask II, Mr. Kashinu.
Kashina?
Casino.
Is that the...
Kashino.
I think it's like Kashina, right? Kashina?
I think it's Kashino.
Okay.
Was found here in the Alabastian ambassador's office. Because he got himself into a lot of debt problems. So that's why he was doing this. Because he was had a gambling addiction, I think.
Right. But it also kind of sounds like Sheena's name.
A little bit. I mean, we literally had a character called Sheena.
That's what I'm saying.
Through our investigation, we found that the murder weapon was this Primadou statue. And that is the actual Bauble statue. This case, no matter how I look at it, sis, if it wasn't you, then there's no one else who could have pulled this off.
Agent Lang, do you understand the full implications of what you are saying?
Of course I do, sis, and I'm serious. You were on the trail of the smuggling ring, and you wanted any evidence you could find. And so, while people were distracted by the autograph's disappearance, you snuck in here. That's when you two ran into each other. You and that other thief who took advantage of the confusion of the fire.
Even if all that were true, how do you explain the movement of the weapons?
Don't worry, I plan to show that you're the culprit behind that too. You have permission to investigate both embassies as well. With that kind of free reign, you could have easily taken the weapons across country lines. Hey now. Look, sis, I thought I already told you I'm not messing around here.
Ah,
This case isn't directly tied to the smuggling ring, but Sheen certainly is tied to the smuggling ring. He is right in saying that she is a member of the smuggling ring. However, the connections between this case and the ring, could it not be deeper than what any of us can imagine?
let's get this ridiculous circus over with already. Me
Anyone
playing
who
Justice
plays,
for All.
yeah. Francisca, you need to calm down. Because you only know the facts of the Alabastian side of the case. I don't believe you can see the case as a whole and therefore solve it.
What?
But don't worry, I'm taking this seriously now as well, and I will prove your innocence.
You know, we were talking earlier in the game that cause like Francisca's like, or I think like no, there's like a joke where Gumshoe's like, oh, maybe she felt like she doesn't know what it's like to be accused of murder or something like that.
Yeah. That's the only way to be, Mr. Prosecutor. But can you come up with anything else that can top my hypothesis? Of course, your explanation has to solve the mystery of the moving weapons as well. Of course I will. Let us now delve into the truth behind the murder of Damask.
You do understand, don't you, Miles Edgeworth? This isn't just a confrontation against Agent Lang. If you can't figure out how the murder of Damask too is related to the smuggling ring, then it will mean the end of our investigation.
As long as I have no good counterargument to his hypothesis, then the best I can do is walk the thin tightrope and see what I can do. Come on, Mr. Prosecutor, get started. Yes, let's. One of Albast's knives was used in Bauble to murder Mr. Cochin, and the murder weapon in the killing of Damask too is Bauble's Prima Du statue. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate the two countries' impenetrable security. The only one who traveled the two countries just before that and after the crimes was you. So long as I can't explain how the weapons moved about, Francisco will remain a suspect? You got it, Mr. Prosecutor, so why don't you stop giving me a hard time? Under these circumstances, who the heck can carry a weapon across country lines? I've worked through every other possibility, but there's only one plausible. Your boss. Agent Lang, what you have learned from you just now is that you've lost sight of yourself. What are you talking about? By focusing too intently on what was which in front of us, we have become blind to the truth. Don't tell me Langzy never said anything to that effect. You prosecutor, who do you think you're speaking about Langsy's proverbs like that? I don't need his proverbs, because my words are all you'll ever need to see the truth. Bing. Wahoo.
Woohoo!
Okay. Well, time to... Gotta press! I concur that this knife crossed over enemy lines. Country lines. Jesus Christ.
Well, they are, like, kind of enemies.
Good. But that's not the only thing they did. We mustn't forget about the other weapon. The knife was the only one. Wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
The murder weapon is killing them, blah, 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 blah. So you're saying that the Prima Du statue was also brought over by Francisca? Like I told you before, that's the only way it makes sense. And how exactly did she bring it over? I haven't figured that out yet. That's a rather weak statement considering how sure you are. Maybe, but there is one thing I do know for sure. Somehow these two objects were able to penetrate. Impenetrable? I should hardly think so. Apartment complex? I find it rather simple. You've seen the top of the wall behind the two countries, right? Who in the world could cross over that?
Yeah, not even I could climb over that thing with all that barbed wire.
The only way into either embassy is through the doors in the Theatrum Neutralis. So the only way for the knife and the Prima Du statue to traverse the two countries is through those security camera-equipped, well-guarded doors. The only one who traversed the two countries just before and after the crimes was you. Was Francisca really the only other person who have traveled between the two countries? According to the guards at both doors, she's the only one to go back and forth.
The sis there was in Alabas when the Yatagrashi showed up. And then just before you guys found Mr. Cochin's body, she entered Bobble. I think we can assume that's when she brought the knife into Bobble. And how do you explain the Premedu statue? Haven't quite figured that out yet. However, the fact that the two weapons crossed the border proves that the killer must have also traveled beyond the country lines. The only things that crossed the border are the Premedu statue and the knife. I just hardly think that those are the only two items Agent Lang. I concur that this knife crossed over country lines.
I think this was the start. We already pressed this one.
Good, but that's not the only thing they did. Oh, yeah, okay.
So I think it's something you gotta present on the last line. Or maybe the line before. Because it's something else. Like, it sounds like it's something else that also crossed over. Oh, I guess the other statue did. Maybe that's the point. Because they were swapped.
Yeah.
Bobbles is the one here, so you need to say the Alabast one also that moved. Because we're in Alabast, which means the Bobble one is here.
Sure. Wait a little bit.
He's like, sure, let me just save. We'll try your idea.
Listen, I'm not saying I don't believe you. I just like my health.
Not that one. Okay, I said the other one like 8 times. But
Well,
that
this
was
one
right,
worked.
so what do you know?
Agent Lang, those two items are not the only two to cross the border tonight. No. Damas 2 was killed with Bobble's Premedu statue, yes. But if that's the case, then tell me, where did Alabaster Premedu statue go?
Okay, so they both worked for it, but my point was right. Okay.
Yes, yeah, you were right.
That's all that
Bobble.
matters in the world, is that I, Emily, am correct, clearly.
Precisely. And if the two statues really were switched, then this means that both statues were smuggled across the border at some point. Which means that a total of 3 items are smuggled across the embassies. I guess so. But you know what? It doesn't matter the number of items, only that Sis is the only one who could have done it. Because the only person who went back and forth between Alabast and Bobble was her. Yes, she carried a solid gold statue across the border.
He said he still hasn't figured it out, but I mean, it's the only person that currently makes any sense, if any.
Is that really true? Was there no one else who traveled between the two countries? Actually, there was definitely another person. One who paid a visit to both sides of the wall. Is that really so, Agent Lang? What a lousy time to try and bluff your way out of this. I checked out what the guards said, along with security camera footage. You're not going to overturn my hypothesis that easily. But suppose there was some other way through the theater doors. What other way? The other entity had managed to cross the border unharmed. If I pointed it out, it would open up a whole new possibility. And though I hesitate to bring this out, as long as this entity exists, the impossible road becomes a possibility. I know where this is going. Looks like you got some clever idea in mind. I do, and I can show you through a single piece of evidence. Fine, then. Let's see this piece of evidence that will show me this other route. This piece of evidence will show us another way to move between the two countries.
The fucking stupid picture. It's bottom right, next page.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. Agent Lang, I'm sure you are familiar with this unforgettable photo. That supernatural photo, like I said before. Humans can't fly. No, of course not. I understand that perfectly well. And don't start claiming the chiness on my girl wings either. I wouldn't dream of claiming that. And I won't allow you to take back what you said either. I'll say it again, it's not humanly possible to fly through the air without wings. So you better have a good explanation for this, Mr. Prosecutor. But how can I prove who it was that flew through the air in this photo? Wait, not humanly possible. Eureka! Very well. You'll have your explanation. Sounds like you have a good simmering inside that head of yours. Let's hear it. the face hidden within this photo's blurry trailed shadow is. Can't select the profiles.
I mean, obviously the statues couldn't be moved through that. Like, it's too fucking heavy for a wire.
One of them could. The one that was thin.
Oh, I guess so. Which one was hollow?
This is the one that was real. This is one that's, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess if it's hollow, you could, in theory, move that across.
Yeah. It doesn't look anything like it, though, is the
Well,
thing.
it's probably covered in, like, something.
Yeah. So it's the Bobblese one. It was a fake.
I think so. Yeah, because if it's fake, it's hollow.
Albass is a real one. Yeah. This is the face behind the shadow. I thought I said you'd better have a good explanation. I can't make heads or tails of what you're trying to say with that.
Maybe it is the other statue?
Was I wrong?
I mean, maybe it's neither, but...
I don't think it's either, then. It wouldn't be the other one. That wouldn't make any sense. That one's too heavy.
Yeah, but maybe, like, we have them mixed up and the other one is the heavy one. I know it says real, but...
Was the Albastian one?
Because it might be saying Alabast not as in, like, the one originally from Alabast, but the one currently in Alabast.
Sure.
Which is stupid, but it might be true. Yep. Look at that.
Naturally, the shadow is the third smuggled object, the Primadou statue replica. You can't be serious. The Adagarasu, or rather Callista you dressed as Agent Sheena, was inside Bobble. She dressed the replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air. I feel like that's one of those ones where they might take points, but be like, hey, actually, you're onto something there. Just, present the other one. Just like,
Yeah.
don't make it obvious.
So that's why it worked when you presented Baubles earlier, and I was saying, no, present Alabasts, because it means currently, not originally.
Good lord, that's really stupid and inconvenient, but okay.
Yeah.
She dressed the
Agreed.
replica statue up in clothes and launched it through the air. Mr. Prosecutor! You left out a very crucial bit in your explanation. I know I did. She launched it through the air? And how exactly did she do that? He is literally baring his fangs at me. But he has a point. How exactly did it move through the air like that? As long as this remains unsolved, we won't be able to move any closer to the truth. Which reminds me, didn't he say this earlier? Hey sis, I remember that just before Ambassador Alba was to give a speech, he called you into his office, right? So just before the murder, Francisca was called here right into this very room. If that's the case, then there may be another avenue I can pursue. Agent Lang, in order for me to answer that question, I'm going to need to hear testimony from Miss Von Kramer. Oh, what are you up to now, pretty boy? Earlier you mentioned something of interest to me. You said that just before the murder occurred, Miss Von Karma had been in this room because Ambassador Alba had called for her. And for that reason alone, you believe her to be the killer. Yeah, I guess I did say something like that. In that case, I believe it is my duty to ask her what her side of the story is like. Do you really think a criminal would tell us the honest truth?
How dare you? As I've said numerous times, there's absolutely no proof that I'm the killer. Miles Edgeworth, don't tell me you suspect me too.
I don't. I can't ignore the fact that you were in this room at one point in time, which is why I would like to hear about your movements in this room.
Grr.
Francisca, I feel that I have still not enough information. Which is why your testimony is incredibly important to the outcome of this case.
Alright. So, what would you like me to talk about?
I'd like you to please testify to your movements in this room until the murder occurred. Alright, let's try this your way for a change. What she has to say turns out to be a waste of time. I'll place her under arrest faster than you can say, Hal, no! As you wish.
There's no psyche lock, so why would I even yell that?
You don't even have... Yeah, okay, that's funny.
As I said earlier, I was assigned to guard duty in the Alabastian embassy. After I saw the Steel Samurai off on his way towards the ambassador's office, I returned to the Rose Garden for a bit and checked up on the security situation. After all the preparations were in place, I was called back by Ambassador Alba to his office.
Okay. Francisca, I want us to make this clear from the very beginning. So what I wish to confirm is the only time span in which you were in the office was before the murder occurred. Is that correct?
Yes, of course.
You see, for now, the only way that I can see for us to break out of the situation is to ask Francisca about her testimony in more detail.
Press time.
Please.
Stop the presses. I thought your duty was to fact find anything that you could about the smuggling ring.
Yes, that was my job. But upon hearing that the Yatagarasu had sent a calling card to the embassy, Ambassador Alba called upon us to protect the embassy instead. That incident 7 years ago, or have you forgotten what happened here back then?
Anything related to that case we were involved in appears to be rather painful to her. It's not exactly one I can readily forget myself.
It looks like you remember the case after all.
Of course I do.
I inspected every location, every possible escape route, every suspicious-looking nook and cranny, and every aspect of the police's security detail. I did all that, and then after that...
I didn't rest, because I didn't find anything. So you were at the theater as well?
Yes, and I suppose you were also there as well, watching that stage show.
Well, yes, so Francisco was there.
Well, after the show was over and I saw the Steel Samurai off...
Well, you need to confirm the degree of preparation before even the speech.
For security's sake, of course, what other reason could I have had? No one knew just how the Yatagarasu had planned on getting in, right?
Yes, suppose you're right.
And in the end, the Yatagarasu did choose to appear in the Rose Garden. Even if it did turn out to be nothing more than a shadow. Who would have thought that she would use a shadow?
Calm down, Francisca. She must still be nursing a grudge over the fact that she couldn't figure it out herself.
Anyway, there was no one in the Rose Garden. And we were aware that the speech was set to start soon thereafter.
How about a game where the main prosecutor is Athena, the investigator is, or the assistant is Maya, the investigator is Emma Skye, and the prosecutor's Francisca.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. It would destroy my fucking throat when we're playing it together and I have to read those characters. Like, I don't know. I
Has
guess
there
you'd probably
ever
do
been a
Maya.
female judge? Oh, fuck it, you could just make it the girl. She's grown up.
I actually think that this isn't really a spoiler. I think I saw that there is a female judge character in Investigations 2 at one point.
There you go. That'll do. Just shove them all together in the same room.
You know, I guess you would do Maya, because we haven't recorded Ace Attorney together with Maya existing. So technically, like, I mean, but you'd probably just do the voice, because you do her voice. I think you do her voice with Super.
No, actually, Super does Maya.
Really?
I do
Okay.
Athena.
You do Athena. Okay.
Yeah,
then
because
would take
I
Maya.
do Phoenix, he does Maya. He does Apollo, I do Athena.
So I mean, hey, when we do the DLC cases together for Game 6, I guess I could do Maya's voice then.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And if we want to do the whale case,
Yeah, you do Athena's, yeah.
I want to do Blackwell, though. Blackwell's fucking awesome.
Anyway, after the preparations were in place, according back to the Ambassador Alba's office, blah, 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 blah. At that time, Damas II's body had yet to have been found in this room, is that correct?
That's right. But Ambassador Alba was here. One could hardly miss his rather large presence.
A criminal will say anything to get out of the way to be arrested. How do you know we're not lying?
Well, if you need proof, I'd be happy to oblige you.
Seriously?
Like I keep telling you, when I arrived at this office, Ambassador Alba was already here. He was standing by the flower box on the windowsill, watering his plants.
I can attest to that. I remember speaking with the lovely lady around that time here in my office.
All right, then. Add that statement to your testimony, and let's hear some details.
So Ambassador Alba was in this room at the time, was he? I just realized there really is just a tree growing in the office.
Yeah. I guess press this too.
If that tree grows anymore, it's just going to start snapping the scaffold, like the framing.
Yeah.
For the sake of being thorough, I'd like to ask you something. How did you know that the Ambassador Alba was watering his plants at the windowsill?
What do you mean by that?
The entrance to this room is on this side, however, the window is on the opposite side. If what you said is true, then when you entered the room, the body would have been against the wall. The body would have been like a wall, whatever he said. It
Yep.
would have been blocking your view of what he had been doing. Isn't that not correct?
I suppose it was a bit hard to see around him, but fortunately for me, Ambassador Alba is not an immovable wall. I knocked before I entered, and as I did, he turned around to greet me, with a watering can in his hand. So it's only natural to believe that he was watering his plants, right?
I suppose.
After his greeting, we spent a little time talking about his flowers. He had obtained them himself and is growing them with the utmost care, you know.
Yes, the plants in this room, they are like my children.
The passion flowers in the flower box on the windowsill are growing beautifully, too. All 4 of them are in full bloom.
Miss Von Karma, what did you just say now?
I said that the flowers are growing beautifully. What about that statement do you not understand?
What do I not understand? I do not understand why a certain thing is the way it is. I'd like for you to append that statement to your testimony.
Very well. Do we have information on the flowers?
Yes. And I thought this was pretty sussy, considering there's only 2 of them.
Oh, yeah. I thought it might be that they don't bloom this time of year or something.
Francisca, for some odd reason, your testimony contradicts with this piece of evidence.
It does appear that way.
Ha! I knew it. I knew he couldn't trust your word, sis. I think he gave her flowers.
Mr. Edgeworth? What are you doing discrediting Miss Von Karma like this?
Yes, sir. If you keep this up, she's gonna get taken away, sir. We've definitely never had a contradiction like this with an innocent party 1,000,000 times every case, and yet we still think you're just bad at your job.
All I've done is state what I saw. I have made not a single mistake in my testimony. And for this, I am still under suspicion for murder. Is the number of flowers really all that important at this juncture, Miles?
At the very least, it's a contradiction in this enigmatic case. One thing that I find hard to dismiss as irrelevant. Ha! Well, let's hear it, Mr. Prosecutor. What does the number of flowers have to do with anything? What does it prove? I believe the answer to that will become clear if we use it to examine that flower box. How did this contradiction come about? There must be something behind this discrepancy.
They're my beloved flowers. I'm growing them with the utmost care. So I ask that you please be gentle with them as you examine them, Mr. Edgewood.
I understand.
Please be gentle.
Jesus Christ, that black screen was terrifying. I won't rest until I've inspected every sus-looking nook and cranny.
Sussy.
That's a bit sussy.
This patch of soil looks as though it's been something removed from it. Ha! What are you doing, Mr. Prosecutor? Why'd you clam up all of a sudden? I'm still here waiting for an explanation, you know. Did you know, Agent Lang, flowers are best appreciated in silence? Looks like 2 things were pulled out of this flower box. This flower box appears to be made of marble.
It looks that way. But so what? Is it something so important you absolutely had to mention it?
No, not entirely, but...
Miles Edgeworth, you do understand our current situation, don't you?
Yes, of course, I'm fully aware of the situation.
Oh, then in that case, allow me to ask you once again. Is what the flower box is made out of really all that important?
It would appear that the construction of the flower box is not that important.
Oh, the soil isn't wet. Maybe that's... No. You can't really check that. Unless the watering can tells you.
This watering can is a rather robust design.
Mr. Edgeworth, why are you telling us stuff we can clearly see for ourselves? Plus, if you keep wasting time talking about that, Miss Von Karma's gonna get arrested.
I better examine something else.
Is there something weird with the flowers themselves? They look fine.
Hmm. The name of these flowers, I believe they're called passion flowers. Despite being called flowers, they're actually a species of vine. They appear to be growing well and are well supported by these plant supporters. Yeah, but no matter how you look at it, it just looks like there are only 2 of them here to me. You realize, don't you, sis? Your little eyes failed you.
Miles Edgeworth? Hurry up and shut this man up for me already.
I suppose I will need to use some evidence to shut him up, won't I? I believe I have just the piece of evidence you require. Oh, you do you? You have such confidence in that face of your current plight. But I highly doubt it'll last until the end. You howl like a wolf, Agent Lang. But we'll see if you have any bite to back up that bark after you've seen this evidence. Truth the passion flowers reveal can be seen in this piece of evidence.
Oh, it's wet.
I was wondering if it was buried.
What? Oh yeah, what's the note? Can you check that? No, it doesn't. It doesn't draw in enough detail.
Ah. Sheena, who was supposed to be in Bobble the entire time, had these hair sticks on her that look exactly like the plant supporters in this flower box. I'd noticed that yet. In other words, I believe they can be said to be these hair sticks are in actuality support sticks for the passion flowers. And so what? Because vines need support sticks in order to grow.
Right.
This is really all that important to the case. Which, I mean, flowers do like those as well, but, you know, of course it is. It means that we found another item that was smuggled being in the countries tonight. Yeah! Think about it logically, Agent Lang. These sticks were originally in Alabast, but somehow they wound up in Sheena's hands, who was in Bobble the whole night. So make no mistakes, these sticks were smuggled somehow just like the knife and the statue. Very well then. I want to hear from you exactly how they wound up in Bobble. How did these support sticks find their way to Bobble, and why? There must be some reason as to why they ended up there. Aha, so that's why. Agent Lang, if you would please take a look at this and please tell me more about its shape. It's just another stick, isn't it? Huh, and so it is. But the shape of the support sticks is what's important. For when they're used with something in this room, that's when it all comes into focus. And the object that completes this picture when used with the support sticks is...
Hell if I know? Completes the picture when used with the support sticks? Oh, because they kind of look like the logo, I think. Like the parts that jut out between the petals. Maybe? I don't know what the fuck else it'd be.
What if they use the crossbow to launch the knife and the sticks across the border?
Oh, you know, that could be, actually.
You wouldn't be able to launch the statue, but the statue could be...
You could use the sticks to, like, pull the string back or some shit.
Because the crossbow was used to launch the string.
Huh. Yeah, okay.
That's a crossbow! Wait, you're not really suggesting... I am. These hair sticks, or rather plant support sticks, they make for perfect arrows. Yeah! I've done it. I've found the common thread that connects the 2 offices. But this thread is yet to be completely entangled. Even using the arrows, how does this explain how the statues were transported? Furthermore, who could have it been who fired these sticks as arrows? There must be a common thread that ties all these together. Mr. Prosecutor, hold up a sec. You do realize what happens when you tie a statue to an arrow, right? They don't fly at all. So Bobble's statue was draped in Yewtika's clothes and then shot over here. Even if you fired the arrows from that side, they wouldn't go that far with a statue tied to them. I don't think I need to tell you that the Prima statue didn't sprout wings. You're a realist after all, aren't you? The Prima statues didn't sprout wings. Of course they didn't. Glad you understand. I feel much better already. I was afraid for a second that you became unaware of that crucial fact. It's only crucial because you're under the belief that wings are necessary in this equation. What? You need to free your mind a bit more and let it fly like a bird in the wind. The Prima statue flew, but not in a wing. Allow me a bit of your time, and I'll explain this mysterious phenomenon to you. Rebut. Yes. But that incredible scene just happened to have been caught on film, resulting in this photo. And what an incredible scene it was. This photo was taken by a freelance photojournalist, right? Yes, or so I heard. And not every photojournalist is known to be honest, right? Especially not the ones that sell photos of spirits and giant creatures in tabloids. Yes, I know what you mean. I've seen these sorts of photos many a time in court.
I love when a game makes a character use generic references that are literally what the character did. Like,
Yeah.
They do that in Undertale. They have Sans, like, when you turn down buying a hot dog, he's like, oh yeah, you probably gotta save your money for, like, college and spiders.
Yeah.
Because I just like the jokes like that a lot.
But there have been times when these photos have been turned out to be telling the truth. You gotta, like, limit those, though. If you, like, ham-fist them too much, then it's just, like, a little bit too recollective.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you ever stood in a court of law, you would know that it's entirely plausible. Ha! You really believe the stuff you're spewing right now? A courtroom certainly is a strange place, if what you say is true. But there really is something odd about this photo, no matter how you look at it. Even if you fired an arrow from that side, they wouldn't go very far with the statue tied to them. Well, I guess I selected state 2. Let's make sure I plop a nice, modified save slot into my modified through DS hardware.
Oh yeah, I didn't know it was a 3DS.
Well, 3DS can play 2DS games.
So it can.
Yeah, the DS regular. But we were in agreement that an arrow by itself would reach the other side. Yeah. Why are you doing my voice? But just the arrow by itself is pretty meaningless, don't you think, Mr. Prosecutor? Because the things that wanted to smuggle were a lot better than nothing. No, that's not necessarily true. What? What I need right now is not further discussion on my conclusion. It's the launching of my conclusion. What the shooter wanted to launch with a crossbow was not the statues themselves, but rather something a crossbow can launch that can be used to move the statues.
Yeah, the wire.
If it wasn't a statue that was tied to the crossbow, then what did the crossbow launch?
Just the wire.
The wire, and then they slid it. Finally. Finally, we have reached this point in our discussion. For I present to you that which was carried by the arrow from the crossbow. I get it now, Mr. Prosecutor. I can see exactly what you're trying to say. You're saying that the wire was tied to an arrow and then shot into Mr. Cochin's office. All the way from the 5th floor to the Albastian embassy. Down to the 3rd floor to the Bobbleys embassy. If what you're claiming really happened, I can see how Alabast's Prima statue could be moved. Gravity could be used to move the statue down the wire to the from the 5th to the 3rd floor. But then, what about Bobble's Prima statue? The dark shadow of this photo is clearly flying away from Bobble. Going in the opposite way of gravity from the 3rd floor to the Bobbleys embassy, up to the 5th floor of the Albastian embassy. How do you explain that? Aha. I think I finally see the gears behind this old trick works. Agent Lang, the motion used behind this trick, I wonder if perhaps you have yet to envision how it works in your head. Motion? What motion? This is the motion that was employed to smuggle Bobble's Prima statue.
Swinging wouldn't get high enough. But rotary, maybe bungee? It was like dropped and then it bounced up?
If it's a heavy statue, then it wouldn't bungee.
It depends on how sturdily the wire was tied, and it's a hollow statue, this one.
Yeah, the hollow statue went up, right?
Oh, I think I think the hollow statue is the one that may have bungeed, which makes a lot more sense.
So it was like pulled back and then like launched.
And yeah, and then it like bounced, like the wire caught and bounced it up, I think.
And they could pull it up. I guess. I could see that.
Swinging doesn't make sense. It wouldn't get vertical momentum, and rotary just makes no sense at all.
Rotary requires a rotor, which has not been revealed as evidence yet.
I mean, like, they could have spun it around, but that doesn't help.
A bit of bungee action was
Okay,
employed.
well,
Bungee action? Saying that the wire acted as a bungee cord and then statue was hauled up? That's a simple way of putting it, but yes. Ha! Did you think about the weight of the statue at all? That thing is solid gold. If
oh,
that thing even reached the office window, the wire would have snapped.
they made it really confusing on which one's hollow and which one's not.
Ugh. But okay, let's consider your idea and say the wire had the elasticity required. If I had that kind of wire from a crossbow, Eric could come sailing back at the person who shot it. Talk about dangerous. Ugh. He's absolutely right. Thought this sort of thing was common knowledge. I'm having a bit of a hard time right now dealing with a jurisdiction thief. He lacks understanding of the most basic things like physics, Mr. Prosecutor.
Jesus Christ,
Unfortunately
I'm
for
sorry.
me, it appears that Agent Lang is correct. I need to calm down and think through this once more.
But, like, swinging doesn't make any sense at all, right?
I believe it was done via rotary motion. If the two statues were transported simultaneously.
Oh.
Simultaneously, get real. The statues would collide somewhere along the way. Did I ever say there was only one line of wire between the two offices? Because there were two arrows.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
If shot an arrow with the two ends of the wires tied to it, a circular belt can be formed. Lang Z says, don't object and call a success what is beyond reasonability. Taking into account the tension difference between the two wires, the top one would sag too much to the point where the statues would collide anyway. Agent Lang, as you know, the pre-Medusa statue is a one-of-a-kind national treasure, and the fact that Bobble's statue is a hollow replica of the real statue, it would naturally be lighter than the real one, meaning that my idea is very possible. Lang Z says, ho ho ho! Here's what I believe happened. Miss Yu and her mystery co-conspirators set themselves up in two different rooms. The co-conspirator bridged the rooms by shooting the two ends of the wire down with one arrow. Then the two of them covered the statues and proceeded to transport the statues. After the switch was completed, another arrow was fired, carrying the other ends of the wire down to Bobble, where it was disposed of. And to do that, Miss Yu hid it inside the grandfather clock. QED.
What the fuck does that mean?
Kirk! What does QED mean? Let's look it up. Hello, Ashera.
Hiya, Shara.
QED math. Quod erat demonstratum, that which was to be demonstrated, a notion which is often placed at the end of a mathematical proof to indicate its completion.
Huh, okay.
There you go.
This proves it, right, Agent Lang? That I'm not the killer.
Not yet, sis. I still haven't hidden my dessert yet. Right, Mr. Prosecutor? The proof is in the pudding, as it were. Pudding is a nice dessert. So,
Will you two shut the fuck up?
oh, we're flirting over here. Fuck off. Sorry you haven't felt the warm touch of anybody, you cold-ass
Yeah,
jerk with a whip.
Fucking, my freedom is on the line here.
Yeah,
And also, I'll have you know that, what's her name? Ah, fuck.
yeah, I'm sure you've been dating Adrian, I'm sure. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
I've definitely seen it, Von Karma. Uh-huh. So you think you can do it? Can you prove what you said has happened? Because remember, if you can, I'll be taking a certain someone back home with me as a souvenir.
Holy shit.
Well, looks like I am about to get handled. Help me, Edgeworth, please. I agree that as long as there's no proof, my hypothesis remains just that. However, what I have laid out is no mere hypothesis, for there is one more piece of evidence. One more. This should be interesting. You think you have a piece of evidence that will turn your hypothesis into fact? Well then, let's see it, Mr. Prosecutor. The thing that made it possible to create a circular belt out of a length of wire. I believe that it is right here in this very room.
The ceiling fan?
Sure. I like that idea. Ha! Looks like you dropped another bomb on us again.
The last piece to the trick are 2 pulleys.
Precisely. The ceiling fans doubles as pulleys in this case. And thanks to the fact that there is one installed in each of the offices, the ceiling fan is made for the perfect pulley set for the wires to run on. You know, on top of being like a really cool way of moving the statues, this is like actually kind of genius.
Yeah, yeah.
So we actually have some smart killers for once. I mean, sometimes they're smart killers at the very end of the drop, but these like they're fucking geniuses actually.
Oh yeah, big brain.
This must be it. This is how the smugglers bypass the impenetrable security. Phoenix would never come up with this shit. He'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Mia, help me out. You really are something else, Mr. Prosecutor. I bet you figured it all out already, haven't you? You know who the big hotshot who set up this real-life stage show is, don't you? The person who set up this rather large and complex stage show needs to be someone who had foreknowledge of the existence of a ceiling fan in both the Alabastian and Bobbly's offices, and that the passion flower support stakes can be used as arrows. The real mastermind behind this case... Well, don't you dare make this wolf wait for his food.
Why are you so hesitant, Miles Edgeworth? If you can't say who it is, why don't you present something like you always do?
A single point to the finger here, and this case will explode in an international incident. However, it's already too late for me to stop the forward momentum. It appears that I have no other choice now, but to rush in. This is a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is. I'm guessing that it involves the counterfeit bills that have been floating along in Zhengfa, which would probably be what the dude burned in the first place. When we say he was burning papers, he was probably burning the bills.
That doesn't prove it, right? I mean, check the note again.
Where?
To the left one.
Trump card?
No, to the left one. Right 2. Yeah. Manny Cochin wrote this. So, what I don't get is what the fuck the Mask 2 is doing here, but...
The Mask 2. He is just a person who was found here, and they had to kill him because he came in and walked in all this nonsense.
But Manny Cochin wrote this, right? Like...
Yeah. The Mask 2 is a complete red herring. He's just here because...
But why would
for the
Manny
callback.
Cochin write this? Like, specifically the Prima-Do statue and all that. Like, why would he write it?
Why would he? Well... Not sure. But one thing I do know, it mentions the 5th floor of the ambassador's office. And the 5th
Yeah,
floor
which
of the
is-
ambassador's office is...
That's where we are right now.
Yeah. And this was in Damas 2's note. So. I think this is it. No. And this is it. I guess it's not.
Sorry I convinced you, because you weren't into that idea.
That's my real
before I
dessert.
started
How long do you
talking.
intend to keep it from me? This piece of evidence isn't satisfying at all. And stop being so picky with your food. Well, we don't have much health left, so, you know. It's one of
Yeah.
these situations again. Bang, bang. Sure, I already have the piece of evidence that shows what it is. I just have to present it, no matter what the cost. There's a piece of evidence that will point us to who the mysterious mastermind is.
So... I don't think that's it. No. Next page. Actually, what does the travel guide say? The embassy guide. Like on the other pages. Okay, it just talks about the paper and the wit crystal. That's it? Okay.
I mean, it
you
could be the
could
fact
say-
that it could be Alba, just from the
I
passion
think
flowers.
it is Alba, I just don't know how to prove it.
He's the one who grew the
Okay.
flowers. The smuggling could not have been possible with the use of this crossbow. Furthermore, the arrows that were shot from the crossbow were plucked, as it were, from the flower box in this very room. They were planted so long ago that the passion flowers had the time to grow so big that Miss Von Karma didn't even notice the arrows when she visited the room today. On top of all this, the fact that the culprit knew that both offices had ceiling fans tells us that the person has a very detailed information on the embassy's layout. So as you may have guessed already, the person I'm accusing of hatching this plan is the person who grew the flowers in the flower box with the utmost care, and the person who tried to kick us out of this investigation altogether. Thus it can only be you, Quercus Alba. Arrest this man.
Are you out of your mind, Miles Edgeworth?
I'm certainly of what I am saying, and I am certain that he is the culprit. Tell me, Mr. Prosecutor, what was the ambassador trying to accomplish by doing all this stuff you just outlined? Why in the world would he need to use a trick like that? I understand you need to doubt me. However, there is one thing that stands out to me as very odd. Just one thing, huh? The one single end result to Ambassador Alba sought to obtain. If we were to examine the focus of this complex trick, I believe we will finally find the answer to everything. Everything will become clear once we examine this piece of evidence.
Which statue is fake?
This one is the real one. The alabaster one is real, while the bauble statue is the fake.
Or rather...
The current one that is at Bauble is the real one, the one that got burned. The one we are sitting in the room with, that one behind Edgeworth's face in Alabaster, right now, that's the fake one.
So it's not motivated to swap them...
To get the real one.
Yeah, because it got the fake one.
It could technically be motivated to have gotten the fake one in order to use it as a bludgeoning instrument, but I doubt that he thought that far.
No, there's no way.
What
it might
I
have to do
think
with-
it was, and this is just the crackpot theory I have right now, is that it was an exchange. Mr. Cochin would give him the fake bills that he could sell in exchange, sorry, he got Cochin. Actually, maybe that crackpot theory doesn't work.
No, I get it.
In any
Cochin
case,
gives away
Cochin-
the real statue, he gives
Yeah.
something to Cochin. I would say
Cochin
a save
wanted
state.
the real statue. Yeah, I can't make a save state here in the evidence room.
No, just make a save state.
Oh yeah, that works. Yeah, I can do that.
It's a lot quicker and easier.
Yeah. Boop. I don't think that's it, though.
I think it could be that it's related to being the mastermind behind the Yatagarasu shit.
It's possible.
That might be a bit early. I'm
Why
not
is the
sure.
samurai spear still here?
I don't know. Because we're in this office, and so they want to make you think.
Man, there's a lot to this case.
Maybe it is.
I wanted you to know that what I heard was maybe it was, and then like, doo-doo. So
Maybe it was-
you got
maybe it
murdered
was
midway
the
through.
bill burned in the fireplace, something like that. Or the videotape, because like the guy in the car, the videotape, something like that.
I can't hear you. You're
Maybe he's like the guy in the car in the videotape. It's something like that. Because it's a Cadopian car, so that's Alba or like Paneo, right?
It's possible.
I think it might be that.
It would also be cool, since this is orders for the smuggling ring. Hey, buddy, could you, like, read this for us?
Oh, maybe. But this is, like, way back, like, 10 years ago, the KG8 card.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that, like the videotape or the card or something.
Let's give it a try. You want us to examine this? Yes, for I believe that by examining it, we'll finally have all our answers. Like Z says, items that become evident should never have any part overlooked. All evidence related to this case are fine and don't need to be examined again. It would appear that I was mistaken. Agent Lang is correct. I want my health back.
I said most of the evidence has already gone through scrutiny, but there's something that hasn't.
Several haven't. The pick, for example.
But that's, I don't know, that seems like it's not related.
It's also wet for some reason.
I know it's wet, but I still don't see why it would be relevant. Okay. Okay, no, it's not it. I thought the take that meant it was correct.
That would be really
you might
funny.
you might need to start using the actual hotkey to save time at this point.
What is that, F1?
Just
Yes.
F1, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, maybe it is the card, just to, like, read the card and it'll say something related to Alba. No. The paper document? I mean, we haven't really investigated, like, read through it much.
Yeah, we haven't been able to because we can't read it.
Alright. I mean, maybe it's something to do with, like, one of the statues themselves, because obviously they can't be investigated that much. Okay.
Okay, it was this
All
one.
right.
That makes sense because we examined the one, but we didn't examine the other. Because the other one was the pure gold one that we weren't allowed to touch. I would fully understand the reasoning had the situation been in reverse. However, to go through the trouble of swapping the real Primadoux statue for the fake, that sends a very shady reason for such a bizarre action. And who better to ask for that reason than King Primadoux himself?
I bet he put the counterfeit money in there, I bet.
Maybe. Let's see, Ambassador, we'll be examining the statue now, with or without your permission.
That's the sound of him shitting himself.
Just a really loud reverb fart sound effect in the background.
Yeah, like the Vinny shit in Skyward Sword. You twist the head. Oh, no one thought to check. This guy kind of looks like the Steel Samurai, don't you think? Maybe it's because they look alike that he was picked to be the Goodwill Ambassador.
I suppose that's possible. Take a look at this area around the base of his neck. It looks like a gap.
Hey, you're right. Maybe it's meant to be some kind of secret?
Perhaps it's possible to open the statue from the gap in its construction. What?
Hurry up and open it, Miles.
Alright, here it goes. The treasure is inside.
Wow, it really did open up. Hey, what's this thing that fell out?
I believe a more thorough examination of it is required. What in the... is this? Hey, is this what I think it is?
It's a plate for making counterfeit bills.
Somehow, it appears that we've at long last arrived at the exit to this complex labyrinth.
Alba just pulls a gun on them like Callisto.
We finally hold within our hand one of the counterfeit money plates, and the reason why the replica was smuggled into Alabas to begin with. The Primadoux statue can only be handled by the ambassador of the Secretariat, and the replica is nothing more than a hollow shell covered in gold. These two circumstances make the structure of the ideal object to which to hide contraband. After receiving the statue containing the counterfeit plate from Sheena, the ambassador had the misfortune of accidentally running into Damask II. Surprised by the thief, the ambassador raised the replica statue of Damask II and... imagine getting killed by an 80-year-old man. How fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me! That in order to frame the Steel Samurai of the murder, he covered the samurai sword in blood. Well, Ambassador Alba? You're the leader of the smuggling ring? My country's a mess. And it's all because of you?
You're the one who killed Damask too.
Answer us.
I never thought, just generally, I never thought that you would figure things out to this level.
Gasp.
However, there is one point I disagree with you on. The head of the smuggling ring was Mr. Cochin.
Quit screwing around. I have
Isn't
no sympathy.
quite screwing around. What a great typo.
I have no sympathy for someone who would try to pass the guilt onto a dead man. If there is one thing I'm sure of, it's that you're the real ringleader, Bossrosslp.
It's not good to speak with such subjectivity, you know, Agent Lang.
Subjectivity? My conclusion is anything but, and is a result of logic and investigation.
Logic and investigation? Only seconds ago you were ready to arrest Miss Von Karma. I don't think we can give such flip-floppy logic any real weight, do you? Hmm?
No, it looks like you still don't get why I came back.
Yeah, called it. Excuse me?
You see, the reason I came back is so that I could sink my fangs into your wrinkly old neck.
Take me out to dinner first.
From the very beginning, my real target has been you.
What? Agent Lang, I demand an explanation.
Sorry, sis. Didn't mean to put you through all that. I knew you were innocent from the very beginning.
You did?
I knew this whole incident had been meticulously planned and prepared for. So naturally, the occupant of this room, Ambassador Alba, seemed the most suspicious. But without the ambassador's permission, we couldn't get in to take another look around. And see, here's the thing. Lang saying all this that he knew all along, I can genuinely buy that, and I think there's enough evidence to back this up. If this case had been the same, but then, like, instead of Lang, it had been Naruhito, I would have, like, fucking, like, literally thrown him out the goddamn window. I'd been like, shut the fuck up, you did not know. Piss off. You have not earned the intellectual superiority up on me in order to make that statement.
Yeah, because the difference is that, like, Lang is the only reason why you even got the chance to prove it.
Yeah.
Right?
Naruhito, meanwhile, is just, like, over here fucking saying
like
stupid shit left and
Well,
right.
like, and because he's the prosecutor in court, he's not really going like, okay, well, let's go back and investigate. Like, he's in court, so obviously that's gonna be shitty when, like, there's no way to, like, tie that back to his previous actions like there is with Lang.
I kind of wish there was an investigation. I like how this game is structured. I think I like it better than, like, the structure of the regular Phoenix Wright games. I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think this works better.
It's not my favorite game. I like the structure better. My favorite game is still Spirit of Justice.
Yeah, I think, like, a really good story mixed with Vit's style of investigativeness.
And
this is
everyone
definitely
says
up there.
Investigations 2 is way better. So, hey,
That's good to know.
I think we should bump that, like, a little sooner on the list. Not
Maybe not
quite right
immediately.
away. There's a lot of investigation to do, especially with, like, finishing Spirit of Justice and stuff. But
I would like to do one other game, at least in between. Some other type of game.
yeah.
I don't know what. It's something.
Dark Souls 3.
I mean, I do hope you go back for Spirit of Justice after we're done here, but, you know.
Yeah, I'll go
it's fine
around
if
to
you
it.
don't.
I mean, we're finishing up Borderlands, so it's a good time for it.
Hmm.
So that's why you put on this big show to accuse Francisca of the murder. Using Francisca as the bait, you were able to gain us entry in investigative rights. Yeah, and if I hadn't done that, I doubt the ambassador would have given the okay to poke around.
So that's what all this was about. Very well, I will forgive you. But in exchange for using me as bait, you will take some responsibility and help us find the truth.
I thought she was just going to start whipping the shit out of him. I guess he was just shot. Well, I was just shot, so... Agent Lang, for giving me such a great opening, I thank you.
Oh, what's the "well, I was just shot" from?
That is from Phoenix, right? Or that's from Case 2-4.
Oh, that is. It's like she said.
Remember I told you, like, the really funny present option? Like, if you present the wrong thing there, it goes, what do you think about this evidence?
Oh, yeah.
After it's like, well, Miss Von Karma? Well, I was just shot, so...
The kind of I feel like I subconsciously channeled that line when I wrote the part of chapter 7 of my campaign, where like everyone's settled down, they've had their discussion in like the meeting room, and they're like getting ready to go do stuff. And Noelle's like, okay, well I guess I'll go like, you know, talk to mom or something. And Eliza's like, I didn't want to be a buzzkill, but I'm probably like a few minutes from bleeding out and dying.
Yeah. You know, I just knew, Mr. Prosecutor, that somehow if we were able to find some proof by investigating this room, that you would be able to figure out the real culprit with your special brand of logic. The evidence detective collect combined with the logic of a prosecutor. That's just as it should be in a prosecutor-detective team, right? Yeah, that is just how it should be in a detective-prosecutor team, right? I think you meant to say a prosecutor-detective team. Edgeworth, I'm gonna literally fuck you. Yes, I would like that very much.
Yes, please, yeah.
I don't know about all that. But one thing I do know about is that I'm itching to see what the old man's got what's coming to him.
There's probably some really good Lang Edgeworth fanfic out there. They shoot each other like strong fuck me energy.
Oh.
Oh right, I read this guy.
Yeah.
You're quite scary when you want to be, aren't you? Oh, I know I'm touching a man.
You are the one who was planning to use me and push all guilt onto the sis. But unfortunately for you, you misjudged me.
Agent Lang, I wish for you to stop trying to intimidate me. What we need right now is evidence and proof. I wonder if you have what is necessary to prove that I am the head of the smuggling ring. Don't be such a sore loser. If you really are the head of the smuggling ring, then you should acknowledge your crimes with dignity. Dignity. That is nothing more than a fool's insincere display of strength. If you really wish for me to acknowledge my crimes, then I would like to first see some of this thing you call evidence.
Can we just, like, frame that thing about only a fool reveals, only a fool believes in dignity, all that shit that he just said? Can we just, like, frame that over every single person that gets outed? Like, well, their horrible crimes in politics.
Oh.
Like Bobby Kotick, or whatever the hell his name is. Can we just, like, frame that underneath a picture of him?
I don't actually know who that guy is.
The guy from Activision Blizzard, you know, whatever the hell his name is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Gah. I tell you, I knew nothing, really. I didn't even know that a counterfeit plate was hidden inside that statue.
You swapped a real statue that vested in your country the authority to rule for a fake. Doesn't make any sense that you didn't know anything.
It doesn't make sense. Where doesn't it make sense? Can you prove that it doesn't make sense? He's really got us. He's turned the entire situation around against us.
Holy shit, that's all it took? Yeah, I didn't do anything. The proof that Interpol has been after which points to this man as the ringleader. If we can somehow find that proof now, then we can see it to justice has finally been served. Is there nothing I can use to break this case wide open? The trump card and the videotape. With those two items, we might be able to finally bring this man down. But the card is evidence from a case that Mr. Faraday hid away in secret. And the tape was stolen by Detective Bad from the police. They're both illegal evidence. No matter what, a protector of the law can't be allowed to use such pieces of evidence.
When has that stopped anyone before?
Needless to say, we Von Karmas are commanded to achieve nothing but victory, and by any means necessary.
The only way to bring someone like that to justice was to do so outside of the courts. That's what we thought at the time.
I no longer follow the path of Manfred von Karma, and I won't follow the path of the Yatagarasu. This leaves me with what? What creed will I believe in? If I want to pursue the truth, then I will sully my hands in illegality. If I want to pursue justice, then I will lose the truth. What is the law and what is justice? And which path is the prosecutor supposed to follow? choice is one I must make on my own.
I'd make a save state, but personally, my ideology is just use the fucking trump card, dumbass. I think that the message the game is trying to say is to not do that, but I think you should.
I mean, that's very fair. But we have enough evidence that I don't think we need them, is the thing.
We can prove that he did all this weird shit, and hell, probably that he killed Damask, but we can't prove that he's the head of the smuggling ring.
I think you can, even without it. And if you can prove it without using illegal evidence, then by all the better. Because that's just an extra sting.
So before you click on this real quick, I just want to say... Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Where is this? Hold on. Okay. I don't know. Sorry, I was thinking about something.
I think it's no.
Okay.
I'm a prosecutor and I cannot allow myself such evidence such as these.
Mr. Edgeworth, if you don't do something, Ambassador Alba's going to get away with it.
I know, but...
What are you holding back for? The only thing Von Karma should pursue is the perfect proof. If you really do have what it takes to complete our argument, then there is absolutely no reason not to use it.
Mengzi says, the reason people judge people is because people are people. People weren't born to be chained to the law. Laws were born to protect the people. You're the only one right here now who can put this guy to the pasture. And that is the only way a second or a third generation of Zhengfa's people will be born. Can you really still hesitate knowing the fate of the nation rests in your hands? There is no limit to the law, and the limit that exists was set there by man. When a person goes beyond that limit, then the law too crosses into new territory. For what reason were laws invented? The answer to that is what I must now show. Ambassador Alba, I don't know if you might recognize this.
Yeah, so that's definitely the point I was getting at. I'm glad that's the direction the game takes it. When I paused a second ago, I was like, I want to see if the wiki says that one of them is a bad ending, so that we can do that real quick and then go back. And then it just says, "Oh, your choice doesn't matter."
That's
so
what I figured.
All right. Oh, I wonder what that card is. I have never seen that before in my life.
It's a directives card used by the leader of the ring to relay instructions to his subordinates.
Oh, is that what it is?
This card was sent to the real culprit behind the KG8 incident 10 years ago. A man by the name of Mr. Manny Cochin.
Oh, so why do you have such a card in your possession?
Because it was hand-delivered to me by a certain great thief, the Yatagarasu.
The Yatagarasu gave that to you. Don't talk nonsense, and let's be serious, Mr. Edgeworth. Do you have any proof that that card contains directions from the ringleader?
I'll have you know that the card is not the only thing I was given.
What?
This contains security footage that was shot just before the start of the KG8 incident.
The KG8 incident?
The card and the video. These two pieces of evidence are what will seal your fate.
Oh, very interesting. I must admit I am very curious now. Very curious indeed of these case-deciding pieces of evidence you presented.
The prey the Yatagarasu have been chasing all this time now stands before me. I can't allow this man who has been free reign for 10 long years to simply walk away. Now is the time for me to bring the fruition to the valiant spirit that was given to me. I'm glad we moved out of that stuffy office for some reason. All right, because we want to watch the tape.
So what is this interesting thing that you wanted to show me?
The trump card and the videotape. These two pieces of evidence together make for the ultimate hand. And this is where the real meaning behind the detective's bad words were realized. Detective Gumshoe?
Yes, sir.
What you see here is security footage shot just before the KG8 murder occurred. From the footage, we know that the card is the directives card from the smuggling. I love how out of place he looks. He's still looking for his mommy. I hope he finds him soon.
Yeah.
Mommy, I have this card I'm supposed to leave here. This is the section that proves that the car was used to relay an order. As you can see, Mr. Cochin is holding the card in his right hand.
I see. The killer is indeed holding a card with the exact same design on it. But that card and the one you have, just because they look the same doesn't mean that they are, does it now?
Ah, but there is a very easy way for me to prove that they are in fact one and the same. All we have to do is simply take a look at this. Boop. According to Detective Bad, Ambassador Alba's directive card bears the mark of a three-legged raven. Or in other words, Yewtika. I suppose this mark was the inspiration for the group's name, the Yewtika. But no, actually what we're supposed to look at is... boop.
The blood.
The dark red blood. Yes, this is your proof. Proof that the orders on this car were played out in the terrible tragedy. The blood belonged to the victim of the KG-8 incident. With a bit of DNA testing, we easily verify that as a fact. If you have no objections, then I'd like for you to take a look at this next part of the footage. This car that passed by in front of the victim's apartment building, it's an official Kodopian government car.
What?
Detective Gumshoe, could you please magnify the footage? Enhance
please
the
don't.
audio.
Oh
my god. This area of the footage directly links the smuggling ring of Kodopia.
Yeah, the pocket.
Yeah, that's stupid, but whatever, I don't care. Listen, it's 2015, it's you know, it's not actually 2015, but you know.
Listen, they have fucking, like, they have the emotional matrix in fucking, with Athena. Like, this is fine.
Yeah, I don't care. The shape of this pocket and the directives card in it. All they really had to do, if they wanted to make this, like, less dumb, was to, like, actually make the photo more clear. This is a limitation on, like, it being on the DS, so that's fine. It tells us that without a doubt this person in the car is Mr. Cochin.
Ugh.
The license plate in the car was also captured by the security camera, and with it we can easily find out who was sitting in this car on that day 10 years ago. Stop grunting, which is why I can say with confidence they were riding in this car that day. I really wish I was in the room right now to just hear you going,
I got the meat sweats.
yeah, I got the meat sweat. Got that cheeseburger. I like how all the villains laugh in this game when they get caught. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Shiakaze!
Holy shit.
Oh my god.
You've done well, boy, to make it this far. However, about your claim that I was riding in the car at the time, that's going to be mighty difficult to prove.
How so, Your Excellency? Jesus Christ, you are tall.
The Principality of Kodopia no longer exists, so naturally all records from that time period also no longer exist.
That arrogance. What he really means is he already erased all traces of them.
Are we finished here, boy?
Look at that side wink. The only weapon I have left for me now is this piece of footage. There must be something here that I can use against him. What's
That
that?
badge that he just revealed.
That has to be good enough. What the? Ambassador Alba! Yeah,
Yes, what is
I
it?
would love it if just this reveal was just for this and also the badge right there is like, oh no. And he instantly shrinks back. You were once an army man in the service of Kodopia. And it was you who made the many missions you participated in successes, correct?
Why the sudden backhanded praises, boy? Although, to be sure, the brilliant medals on my breast were awarded to me during the era of Kodopia. But now I am the only one who owns this particular medal.
In that case, the only person it could be who's sitting in the car with you.
How do you figure that?
By the metal caster here in the footage, you dumbass. It is clearly the same exact metal as the one you just. His skin blew off.
Oh my god, dude.
This is how it will be, but I won't look back. Phoenix sees a super criminal reveal their true form. Takes like 30 minutes to get through it. an hour, 2 hours.
Meanwhile, Edgeworth is just like,
3 minutes.
Ambassador Alba, you fucking stupid idiot.
For this is the path that I have chosen. Darn. They wouldn't give us it that easily. I think that would have been real funny.
You've moved me with your devotion to this case, Mr. Edgeworth.
Why is he taking such an arrogant stance with me?
It's almost looking possible, isn't it? For the lot of you to have come this far. It looks like I just might lose our little game this time.
You might lose the game this time? You don't get another round, Mr. Ambassador.
Is that a fact?
Oh, we haven't even gotten to N2 yet.
Very well. Nice, +2. I've decided to confess and admit my guilt. You're going to confess? And I will accept whatever punishment that may come as a result.
What the?
Regarding the Damask 2 murder, I admit it. I did it out of self-defense.
You're claiming it was justified self-defense?
Damask 2 attacked me, and I felt that my life was in danger. If I hadn't done what I did, I might be the one you found dead instead of him.
What a pathetic performance.
I'm not giving you one. Wow, you two really know how to laugh at inappropriate times. You could say that line to any two people in our campaigns.
If you wish to claim it was justified self-defense, then we'll need some evidence.
It's always the evidence with you, isn't it? But if that's what you require, I'll provide it. The man left a mark on me when he attacked.
What?
I don't particularly want to show it off, but this is proof that it was in self-defense.
Just starts unbuckling his pants. No, that's okay. We believe you.
Look at it. Oh, God. I'm an old man, and sometimes I don't pay enough attention when I should. But Damask 2 didn't have a single weapon on his body.
Bitch.
You want a head patch, girl? Hold on, it's nothing to get worked up over, because I hid the weapon. You hid it? I'm sorry, but as you know, a murder is a murder, even if it's in self-defense. And I couldn't let it become public, seeing as how I am an ambassador. This is the weapon you seek, my special bonsai trimming shears. Ugh, it's covered in blood. Did he fucking stab himself because he thought this might happen? He was trembling quite badly during our struggle, but that's when he grabbed the shears that were sitting in my office and attacked. So you see, it was an act of self-defense. Is he right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Since he has both a wound and the weapon that caused it, it's enough to declare it so.
No way. Oh, which reminds me, I guess there is still one more accusation I need to resolve. Smuggling and counterfeiting. Unfortunately, all of that is my secretary's doing. I had no knowledge it was going on.
Stop spewing nonsense. You're trying to throw my investigation under the bus in your desperation. If we're to get real honest, everything in this case can be connected to you.
The murder of Damask 2 was done in self-defense. In my trials, no man escaped his crime alive.
It's a straight face while she whips near him.
Perhaps so, if you were my opponent in court. However, there was one very important fact that I think you may have forgotten.
And what is that? I don't know. Ah, that's what you mean. Extraterritoriality.
That's right. This embassy sits on what is effectively Alabastian soil, so any trial that is to be held will be held in Alabast. Therefore, the crime I just admitted to will never be tried in your court.
Agent Lang, what is Interpol's stance on this? Agents investigate, that's her job. The judgment of people who have confessed to their crime, that's the court's job.
And I've already confessed to all of my crimes, Agent Lang. Furthermore, by the very nature of my position, I have full extraterritorial rights. These rights are effective even on your country's soil. Therefore, no matter where a crime may take place, I will never stand trial in one of your courts.
That arrogance and your expression. There's nothing like a face of someone who's ready to accept the consequences. Don't tell me you have your own country's judicial system eating right out of your hands.
These crimes you all speak so seriously of, tell me, this has all been nothing more than a game. You may chase me out of this embassy with your accusations, but it's no big deal. Alabaster's numerous other embassies in other countries around the world. All you would accomplish is you would change the backdrop of our little game.
These 2 layers of protection, that extraterritorial protection provides him. Extraterritoriality. This is why he is one of the ones who cannot be brought to court.
You see now, don't you? I live in a whole different world than you.
Dude, he is so fucking tall now. Look at little baby Lang.
Yeah, and then the guard next to him, who's about to protect him or something, is just like, what the fuck did I just what the fuck is happening here? Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go and fetch your eviction papers.
Is there nothing we can do? I like how the guard just walks with him, like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever you say.
Whatever.
You're paying my bankroll.
Yeah, I don't get paid enough to question this shit.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, probably the end of this for tonight. That's a really good spot to cliffhang on.
By the way, there wasn't a save, but that was actually the end of End 1, not the end of Middle 3.
Yes,
which
I know.
Means which means we've just got End 2 and then the very short End 3.
Yeah, just End 2, apparently the longest part of the chapter.
That said, I'm willing to stay up late for it, but I know you have plans with Super, so if you don't want to make him wait, then we can do this some other time.
I think this is a good spot to end, because it would give me
Okay.
like the 20 minutes to go hang out with him. We're gonna make it wait up till 8 in the morning, because obviously you'll be with that by then.
Yeah, but I wouldn't mind if you did want to finish. That's my point.
It'll be a while, so I don't want to wait too long.
I don't have an alley to keep awake as I yell at the computer.
That's
so.
true. But it's okay. This can wait until next week. I'll probably pop on for one of those days.
Okay.
Is Ali gonna be back next week?
Yeah, she comes back on Sunday.
Okay. I mean, that shouldn't matter. N2, no matter how long it is, probably can't be longer than, like, I don't know, 4 hours, and then, like,
I mean, we just did middle 2, middle 2, middle 3, and End 1.
Yeah. So I can't imagine N2 will take that long.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'll take a while, but it won't take the whole night.
Right.
And even if it does, that's what N3 is really short for, so.
Yep.
In any case, that's been Phoenix Wright.
Actually, I think it's short because it has little legs.
Yeah. What?
Like, what's it short for? Because it has little legs.
What is it good for? Doo-doo. All right. Here's how we'll end. We'll get the first line, and it'll be a real good one.
Yeah, okay.
Here it is. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Well.
That's not a line. I can't believe it, sir. Extraterritoriality.
All right, that's what you get. You get gumshoe sighing.
What's new?
Wah wah. Pay deduction. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.